professional angler Jason Christie knows, the performance and feel of a reel in his hands is very important. And that's why he designed the new Spro JC Elite and JC Elite MG baitcast reels to achieve both of those goals. The reels have 4 gear ratios for any technique, and the frame of each reel is the same size. So no matter which speed you use, they feel the same. 9 bearings, long casting, and loaded with power. Give the JC Elite and JC Elite MG a try this season.
It's definitely a lot colder today.
Man, I really need to make this cut.
I need to make up points quick.
Positive mental attitude.
I hope they stay where I found them.
Are they even pulling water?
Too far.
I hope nobody else.
Man, it's too windy.
The water's too high.
Avco, keeping you comfortable on the outside, no matter how you're feeling on the inside.
25 years as a touring professional, I have depended on Gamakatsu my entire career to produce the sharpest and the strongest hooks. Known as a power fisherman, but yet if you're going to survive as a tour level pro, finesse is becoming more and more popular, regardless if we go north or we go south. So when you're choosing a hook, choose Gamakatsu. They have one for every technique and every body of water that you fish on.
Lights, sonar, action. Tired of waiting? See more action with world-class fish finders and sonar from Lowrance. Discover the hidden gems and pristine waters of Tennessee's B.A.S. signature lakes. Conveniently located throughout Tennessee, there's a signature lake near you, covering all regions of the volunteer state, all endorsed by the legendary Bill Dance himself. Whether it's a weekend getaway or an extended vacation, create timeless memories at Tennessee's Bill Dance signature lakes. Plan your trip today.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast and chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top, it's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
As a professional fisherman, every decision I make is to win.
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 The boat I drive,
the baits I throw,
the gear I wear.
I do it to win.
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 Because when I'm on the water, I want to be the best.
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 That's why.
That's why.
That's why.
That's why
we wear the best.
Welcome into the Bassmaster Halftime Show, presented by Bass Cat Boats. It is stop 7 of the Progressive Bassmaster Elite Series, and we are on Oklahoma on Lake Tenkiller. A smaller body of water for Elite Series standards, and well, this body of water, it's kind of reminded me of one of my high school girlfriends. It's very unstable this week. A lot of instability on this body of water. The water has been high, the water has been low. We've had 3 different takeoff locations. That gives you an idea of how unstable it is, but had a great takeoff this morning at Chicken Creek Boat Ramp. Amazing support from the local community. Drove past a local store, and the kids were out waving like we were a parade on the way past. So it's always good to be welcomed in. And when you come to the great state of Oklahoma, it's always good to hang with some fine folks from Oklahoma. Matt Pangrack joining us, Kyle Jesse as always. And Panger, you got a lot to celebrate. I mean, got engaged just a little while ago, hot off a gold medal winning performance for America. Life is good for you.
No, it absolutely is good. It's also good anytime the Elite Series and Bassmaster returns to Oklahoma, a state that is very proud of its angling history, its angling community. This area, synonymous Lake Tenkiller with Jimmy Houston, obviously with classic champ Jason Christie now. So excited to see the Oklahoma fans and faithful kind of show out this week, even with maybe some adverse weather conditions. And like you mentioned, you can see the community, the people really willing to work with Bassmaster to make sure this thing goes off without a hitch. On the water, though, little maybe not as smooth as we were hoping it would have gone.
Well, why? Just the instability?
Yeah, well, I mean, so it was a unique situation here. There was an off day on Wednesday for the anglers. They started practice on Sunday, went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, off day Wednesday. A lot of weather systems rolling through Oklahoma. Tenkiller, very susceptible to rising and falling water. One of the things they can do here is they can pull the water out of this lake really quickly. It also rises quickly. So when they started practice on Sunday morning, it was at like 487. By the time they finished practice, it was up to 491. And now it's down to 490. So definition of a roller coaster when it comes to water level. And one thing about these Oklahoma bass, they like to go up and down with that water level. So they're kind of all over the map right now.
Well, one thing that everybody agrees on, a lot of eyes on Jason Christie, obviously, Kyle. Jess, you spent a little time with him before the tournament started. Is he going to pull it off this week? 5 minutes from his house.
It'd be hard to root against him. I mean, obviously, a guy that has spent more time on Lake Tenkiller than anybody in the field. I don't even think it's particularly close. Told me yesterday he'd hate to know how much time he spent on this body of water. However, it's not a place that he's fished multiple day tournaments. You know, he said that 2-day tournaments, not super unfamiliar with that, but a 4-day event on your home lake. And it changes the way you fish it a little bit, because if it's a lake you fish just for fun a lot, it's hard to kind of challenge that as a tournament angler.
Well, let's get caught up with everything that's been going on the water with our Yamaha Midday Report and have a look at some of the anglers we got a camera with and how the action has been breaking down here on day number 1, stop number 7. And let's start it off with a calm, cool cat from Colgate, Oklahoma. The guy's excited to be here. Former Elite Series champion Luke Palmer.
Yeah, Luke is as old school Oklahoma as it comes. He grew up around here. Eufaula, Tenkiller, Fort Gibson, Grand. If you can put a flipping stick in his hand, he's very comfortable with it. But also one of these hybrid anglers. We saw how he's used his forward-facing sonar in certain ways, particularly in his Elite Series win on Santee Cooper at Shallow. So one of those anglers who can use his familiarity and his strengths, but also isn't afraid to get out offshore, which we saw him towards the end of the first segment today, get offshore and put a spinning rod in his hand on some of these Tenkiller.
How about a 4-time Bassmaster winner, back-to-back classic champion, Hank Cherry?
Hank's fishing his strengths. You watch Hank live on it. The dude's a swim jig fisherman. He's not afraid to get up. He said he was kind of fishing by the seat of his pants here, but that's the beauty about Tenkiller right now. You can fish your strengths with all 3 species of fish in a healthy bait fish population. We've seen him key on docks, on marinas, put that white swim jig in his hand, and it's just a matter of time before there's a big post spawner that's sitting up underneath one of those floats that sucks in that swim jig and boom, jumps him way up to the top.
And you said it. That is just Carolina as it gets. I mean, if you were to just look at that footage and didn't know it was at Tenkiller, you'd just think he was at Norman or any of the North Carolina lakes that set up very similarly with those floating docks. Like you said, fishing to his strengths so far.
It's an Elite Series event in 2025, so yes, of course, we have a camera with Jay Securit. Never been out of the top 10 in Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year, but firmly planted atop that, and this is a big question mark for him. This tournament, if he can get through here, it gets a lot easier.
There's no question. I mean, he was another guy that I had the opportunity to shoot some content with yesterday, and you can tell as each event passes, that pressure just continues to mount. You know that you're that close. It's so hard to have the opportunity to win Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year, and he's put himself in such a great position so far. Obviously having a solid morning this morning. Told me that he was going to mix it up, fish a little bit shallow, fish offshore. So far today, Matt, we've seen him mostly stick to those offshore schools.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that has been fishing the guts of some of the main creeks, targeting those suspended fish, throwing a minnow, throwing a suspended bait on them. And he's a guy who's in position to, all it takes is 1 second to get 2 or 3 big ones, get one of those to fire, and he's good.
How about Scott Canterbury? I talked about your gold medal. Well, he was part of that gold medal winning team. Scott Canterbury got a camera with him here today.
Yeah, he seemed to be throwing a shaky head style bait. He's offshore. Now, one of the cool things about Tenkiller is these fish will group up offshore. If you find a brush pile, if you find a rock pile where they are, you don't have to hunt and peck. You can go back to the well over and over and call up, and we saw Scott do just that this morning.
Certainly getting a lot of bites. Maybe a little unexpected. He's such a good shallow water fisherman, flipper, swim jig, the things that we've seen a lot of anglers have success here. What a catch. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, that was wild. I've never seen one go around the trolling motor up onto the front deck and then back in the water.
I mean, what a crazy catch, but outstanding start from Scott Canterbury, obviously, today. You never know how day ones are going to go with the anglers with the camera in the boat, but he has really shown out today.
He told me this morning it's been a while since I've had a camera on day one. And he said, I'm going to put on a show. And that fish proved that he is putting on a show. That is your Yamaha Midday Report. But let's get out on the water live with Scott Canterbury right now.
Went out deep, and it's been good. We caught them pretty good. It's just a matter of having enough areas to do it and catch them. We caught them pretty much all on one spot, or we did catch them on one spot, really. I'm going to fish shallow a good bit today to try to get a big bite, but we may have to go up to where it's muddy or something. I'd like to see what everything looks like after the day off. We're going to catch a few more somewhere.
Scott Canterbury, as I said, he said he's going to put on a show, and let's have a look at a little bit of that show right now and relive that fish catch.
Matter of fact, we may run up in a minute. Go ahead and do that.
What? What is that behind me? Oh, nothing to see here. Just bring him around. You're on the wrong side of the boat.
If you spend your time doing this, you'll catch some fish. It's just a matter of catching. And we got good quality fish, for sure. I mean, a lot of the fish that you catch in the bushes aren't but 1 3/4 pounds. So we don't have a fish under 2 now. So it's all about decisions and trying to learn what's going on every day. Today we got a good start.
I'd say a good start. When they're literally jumping in your boat, you are having a good start. Not only jump in your boat, but you jump in your boat, back out of your boat, pull it to the other side, and land.
Yeah, on the opposite side. I don't think I've ever seen one happen like that. If you notice right there, he's got a water bottle there to keep that from happening again.
A little defense.
Yeah.
Well, let's head over to your pre-tournament favorite, a guy who has been licking his chops waiting for this event. The pride of Dry Creek, Oklahoma, Jason Christie.
Just swing them. Golly, just swinging. That's 2 over 3. That I've lost. He had the bait better. Golly.
Ouch. That is painful.
One of the
Making
things,
it even more painful is we're going to replay exactly.
Well, you can see right here, so, no nets in the Bassmaster Elite Series. So one of the things that Jason here is seeing that fish is just hooked on the outside with one hook. So you'll see he's going to pull his rod across his body and try to get more treble hooks into the mouth of that fish. That's a common deal. He's not overplaying it right there. What he's trying to do is get more hooks into that fish, and it just didn't work out. But that's dangerous if you get a bite on him, and that's a clue. He just said before when he first went out deep, he needed one clue.
Certainly getting some numbers of bites so far, but right now, smallest fish is a 1-pounder, so that certainly would have propelled him way up.
I mean, they're doing what? Exactly what I thought they'd
From one Oklahoma angler
We've had the bites
to another,
already,
let's
so-
head over to Colgate, Oklahoma's Luke Palmer. You mentioned how versatile he's become, and we've seen it right in front of our very eyes. I remember just a few years ago, I literally stood in the parking lot and watched Gussie teach him how to tie braid to fluoro. Didn't own a spinning rod, and man, he's done damage with a spinning rod, not just here in Oklahoma, but up north.
Yeah, he really has. Here he is hooked up here on a fish, but I talked to him yesterday prior to the start, and he was really worried about fishing pressure in his areas. We saw some of his best stretches. He actually ran into Carl Jacobson with another boat in the back of that pocket, so he's going to have a little bit of head games to play with too on a body of water that he's familiar with, finding an area where he can get comfortable and really settle down and catch him. But 3 different baits for Luke right now to put fish in the boat, and that one was on a spinning rod.
Chunk.
I heard there's flop out there.
There's 15 or 20 of them in there this size. Gosh, he's hooked in the freaking tongue, though. That's the reason I bit the bait off and leave it. Seems like this happened to me at Smith. I pulled it out that time.
That's a good one, and what makes it even better is the fact that he just said there's 15 or 20 of them there, that size. It's probably a pretty good spot hanger, no?
Yeah, they group up here. I mean, when you can catch them one after another. They like to get in smaller groups and really kind of group up tight to the structure of cover that they're focused on.
Well, another thing that groups up is top 10s. And Keith Combs trying to make his second top 10 of the season. He's your tournament leader with 14 pounds, 12 ounces. West Coast pro Andrew Loberg and Trey McKinney in third.
What a time to be live. Humminbird's new Mega Live 2 forward-facing sonar is your front row seat to every epic catch, unfolding as it happens with more clarity than ever before. Decipher between dinks and diamonds in the brush. Choose between 15 color palettes and 3 views. Zero in with enhanced bait tracking and marvel at all the jaw-dropping detail. New Mega Live 2. Next-gen clarity, next-level fun. Only with Humminbird.
When you're looking at a V.A.S.S, you're looking at the amazing weld job, the attention to detail, but you don't really understand how well this thing's built until you get behind the wheel and take it on the water. This boat, when you ride in it, you forget that you're an aluminum boat. It rides so smooth, it's so solid. I mean, you wouldn't even know it's aluminum. But man, just the fishability, being able to weave in and out of docks, go a little bit shallower, and that's really what makes it an impressive machine.
And now your action weather broadcast. We've got shifting weather conditions on the horizon. Expect high winds, scattered thunderstorms, cold fronts, and dense fog. It's a wild one out there.
Toyota Trucks. Let's go places.
If you're looking for a new piece of clothing to try to help beat the heat, you got to check this out. This is the new Aero Mesh hoodie right here by AFCO. It has great technology to let the air through, vents out real quick. They even tighten the hood up. If you're out working in the sun, you're trying to get that sun off your face, it fits a little tighter in on you to block the side views. Fit super nice, so if you're athletic, working out, whatever you want to do, it's a nice, cool fit to you, but yet it's going to help you beat the heat. You got to check it out. It's the Aero Mesh.
Welcome, bass fishing fans, to the all-new ultimate destination for Bassmaster merchandise. All the goods you need to elevate your fishing game and rep your Bassmaster pride. Find exclusive Bassmaster apparel, high-quality gear and accessories, and more with prices to fit every budget. At the Bassmaster online store, you'll shop with ease from the comfort of your home with fast shipping and unbeatable quality you can trust. Just go to bassmaster.shop to find out what's new and get what you want to gear up for your next big catch.
It is day one of Stop 7 of the Progressive Bassmaster Elite Series. Welcome you into Oklahoma, where we are trying to watch it all go down on this incredible body of water, Lake Tenkiller. A lot of questions going into this week, and this is a tough one. You look where we go from here. Obviously, we go to Lake St. Clair, where the majority of the field catches a limit every single day, and a good limit. Then we go to La Crosse, Wisconsin. I mean, it's the story of 4-pounders on St. Clair, 3-pounders in La Crosse. But this one, a question mark. This can go so wrong for so many. An incredible fishery, but not easy with as unstable as it's been, a small playing field on Elite Series standards, and they're going to get a lot of freedom when it comes to Saturday and Sunday, and it cuts down to 50 anglers, but 102 on the water. But the leader in our Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year points, Jay Securit. Let's get out to him live right now. What are you seeing here, Panger?
I seen Jay's playing the number game. I mean, he is doing your traditional smallmouth spots and largemouth that are keen on bait fish. There to the right of screen, you can see a fish actually going through the bait ball, but those are just small wolf packs of fish. The water clarity down lake on Tenkiller is really good for this. So he's basically, we're set up here at the Cherokee. He's basically playing the slots, hoping that one of these fish is better than average. But what we've seen and what we'll see him continue to do all day is he's mentioned going up to the bushes, but if he can sit here, play the numbers game, and cull up ounces, it'll do him a world of good. Also, as the water drops, these fish are going to be less susceptible to it, so he's going to be more likely to be able to stay stable. If he can find a creek, a ditch, a drop, a drain that has fish that are relating to those bait fish, it'll be easier for him to take that into the weekend and secure that 10 to 14 pound limit than a guy who's hunting and pecking for individual fish.
Panger, you're pretty good at this stuff. I mean, you should probably start a daily podcast or something.
Oh, there's enough podcasts out there already.
Oh, no, that world needs. Oh, that's right. You do host Bass Talk Live. And we thank you for breaking away from that today to join us. This tournament is a lot of fun, but a lot of different baits playing in this tournament. You're going to break it all down with our Bass Pro Shops top baits.
That's exactly right, and thankfully Matt is here because he at least knows what he's talking about. So he's going to help us break this down. We're looking back, Bass Pro Shops top tackle, 2019 Elite Series tournament, the only Elite obviously that we've had here other than this year. The number one bait that showed up in that top lures gallery was a crankbait. Now, different sizes, square bills, deep diving crankbaits, but something you mentioned, Matt, is they will get offshore and group up. And we've seen a couple guys, Jason Christie, Blake Capps, use a deep diving crankbait.
They will also, not sure how Keith Combs is catching them today, but that exact color right there, chartreuse powder blue bat, Keith Combs is made famous between the TTBCs and what he's done in Texas with it, well over $500,000 in earning. We saw Jason Christie pull off that looked like a 3.5 to 4 pound largemouth on it, especially with a little stain in this water, and then pulling 11,000, setting those fish up on key spots, getting a big plug down there in that 15 to 18 foot range could be big.
Absolutely. And then number two, just a straight tail finesse worm. Something we saw a lot back in 2019. I'm sure we'll see here again. shaky head, drop shot, same kind of deal, same places, right?
It's Oklahoma. Shaky head always plays in Oklahoma. Scott Canterbury going to work with it. One of the things we're seeing Shakurik catching suspended fish, but there's also a lot of times where these fish will follow it and eat it off of the bottom. They'll actually follow it down. A shaky head, an underrated forward-facing sonar bait that it looks like Canterbury's making the most of this week.
Absolutely. And number 3, a jig. You can't come to an Ozark-style lake without a jig being on your deck, whether you're fishing it shallow, deep, whatever it might be. You know, a jig's obviously always going to be a player here.
Yeah, Tyler Williams deadly with a jig of that style in his hand. We saw what Carl Jocumsen did when he won that 100,000 at a crucial part in his career the last time they were here. But whether you're flipping it, whether you're dragging it, whether you're swimming it, a jig has to be tied on when you're on a non-grass rock lake in Oklahoma, any style of crawfish color or white one like what we saw Hank Cherry throwing. But that jig right there will get bites across the state and this week, regardless of whether it's high, low, or dropping.
Absolutely. Number 4, Mercer, we've been teasing this all year, and I feel like we're finally starting to see some action.
About time.
This morning, you know, we've seen a lot of poppers, buzz baits, a little bit of walking baits, but walking bait was a bait that played back here in 19. Matt, obviously going to be a Clearwater staple.
Yeah, so the walking bait on Tenkiller really depends on the gizzard shad and where the gizzard shad are. If you can get up on some of those tall, shallow rock points and the gizzard shad are up there, a lot of those fish will follow it. I've had times on Tenkiller where I'll be walking a walking style bait, a Zura spook, and you'll have a 4-pound smallmouth jump over the bait and a 4-pound largemouth come up and eat the bait. They mix it up, and if there's big protein up shallow, that is going to be an X factor at some point this week, especially with the overcast conditions.
Naturally, that's what we're rooting for. More topwater action. Hopefully we get to see some more
I
of
thought
that.
you meant big protein. I'm a big fan of big protein.
That as well. And then last but not least, a swim bait. You know, in 2019, we saw a variety of different swim baits, a smaller swim bait, a mag draft, a bigger style swim bait. Not so much a minnow then. Obviously, it wasn't then what it is now, but we're seeing a lot of that, you know, so far today with the minnow style.
That jig minnow is a hybrid iteration of what we saw Chris Zaldain do on those same kind of flat points that guys are targeting with topwaters or moving baits. You know, he threw a small paddle tail on a really light jig head, caught some really nice smallmouth last time to be in contention. Same style here. Just make the tail straight and cast to them a little bit more accurately instead of fan casting.
Absolutely. And then another thing, you know, obviously not on the list, but we've talked about the changing conditions, the high water. You know, there's plenty negatives about the changing, you know, water levels, but it's allowed us to see more flipping. I mean, that's been something we saw all morning long. Suspect we'll see throughout the tournament. So there's pros and cons, but that's going to be your top tackle, Bass Pro Shop's top tackle here for Lake Tenkiller.
And I don't have an abacus to work it out, but I'm obviously looking at that, and it's 180% right there. Why are those numbers like that, Kyle Jesse?
So 10 anglers, they can show multiple baits. It's not going to be a perfect 100%. I know that's been a question throughout the season. That is basically number of times that bait's showed up. You know, it's not necessarily how many anglers are showing up.
Got our eyes live right now on Scott Canterbury. But we got a lot of things have been thrown around going into this event, Kyle Jesse, and that'll give us an opportunity to break down a little segment called Buying or Selling.
Yeah, we're going to run through this. You know, didn't have dock talk. That's typically where we've done this. With the off day yesterday, had the chance to catch up with a lot of anglers. You know, naturally, they're all on edge a little bit just because of all the changing conditions.
Time of the year, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. You
pressure.
need it. A lot of guys need a good tournament, you know, for all sorts of things. Qualifying for the Classic, Angler of the Year, Rookie of the Year, re-qualifying for the Elites. A lot on the line. But let's start it off. Buying or selling. Matt, Gerald Swindle said, you can get ready for it. FFS is going to take another win here. We buying it or selling it?
I'm going to buy it, but I don't think it's exclusively going to be an FFS win. I think this is one of the best mix-up tournaments of the year. We've seen it with the top anglers out there right now. I think this is going to be a perfect example of situational scoping. I think key fish could come any number of ways, any of those top baits that we just went through, but it will definitely play a part in the win this week. I'm buying it.
I'm right there with you. I'm situational scoping. Never heard that term, but I think it's a fitting term. I don't know that we're going to have many events that it doesn't play, because whether you're traditionally scoping, like I spying them and casting right at the fish, it's become such a tool where anglers can just look. Even if you're fishing a break, you can just look ahead and you know you're exactly on that break. So I think we're going to see a little scoping, and situational scoping for
I
sure.
love it. We're sticking with that.
It's a definite Pangerac-ism.
Number 2, Kenta Kimura said, Matt, you kind of just talked about this. Whoever wins this tournament is going to have to do something different every day.
100% buying that. Not only that, a lot of times you see guys who get on patterns, they're managing their fish, they're managing their area, they're seeing what's happening around them. I do not think this is one of those cases. These guys know the links to watch that water drop. You have the weather come in, you're dealing with about a 10,000-acre playing field with the conditions. I think you've got everybody who is taking this as 4 one-day tournaments, maybe taking a nugget or a morsel out of what they did the day before, but you're not going to see one guy that just really kind of dials into one thing and does it exclusively. So I'm buying that.
Mercer?
I don't want to play follow the leader, but I'm 100% buying it as well. I mean, I said that this lake reminded me of my high school girlfriend, very unstable. You never knew what you were walking into with her. That's exactly what Tenkiller is. So there's no way somebody's going to do one thing and ride it to the very end. So
I feel like we love those types of tournaments as it is. I mean, you're going to be challenged. Everybody in the field is going to be facing a massive challenge out there, but it's going to be fun to watch. Last but not least, Caleb Summerall said it's going to take 61-13 to win. Now, that's probably pretty close to what a lot of the estimates were. Are you buying it or selling it? And if you're buying or selling it, are you going higher or lower?
So before the start of the day, I was totally selling that. There's no way that I thought that Jason Christie would come into this tournament and not bust a 20-pound sack. There are a lot of 3 3/4 to 4.5 pound fish in this lake. You're typically not going to see an 8, 9, 10 pounder, but that would kind of bump me up into the 70 range. Watching it now with the conditions that we're seeing, I mean, it's easy to buy in hindsight after we've seen how the first morning is going, but I still think that there's a couple 20-pound bags up there that'll get it up to that 65-plus pound range. So can I put it in layaway?
Just decide after the tournament. That's typically what we do. Mercer, what do you got?
It's a great thing for a tournament angler to do, really. Just put it in layaway. I'll be back to pay for it. I totally wanted to disagree with you because I thought you were going with buying it. I'm selling it, too, because I just think when they get a little bit more space on the weekend, first 2 days, it might seem like that's right on target, but I think we're going to see a couple of big bags come in throughout the weekend. And as the guy that MCs the weigh-in, I'm going to go. I'm selling on that.
You were quite literally selling it. It's going to be higher than that.
I'm selling the weigh-in. It's going to be wonderful.
And that is going to be your buying or selling segment here at Lake Tenkiller.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Kyle Jesse. All those questions, that's just our opinion. All of those questions will be answered. A couple of days ago, it was sunny out and beautiful. And it was this morning, but now it's kind of clouded over. But it's all sunshine in Keith Combs' boat, 14 pounds, 12 ounces. We don't know what he's doing. We will find out. But I got to believe, as you said, Panger, he is a cranker, and the crank bite is playing. You got to imagine that's what he's doing.
Definitely. I see Andrew Loberg, really good young angler there, and then Trey McKinney. A lot of guys who came pre-practice here, put in some work. It seems to be paying off for them, too.
Since 1975, P.H. Marine has been the leader in boat parts and accessories, powering every journey on the water. From trim handles to jack plates, we've built a legacy that keeps you running strong. P.H. Marine, built for life on the water.
There's a big one in the reeds ahead. I know it. He doesn't care who I am, what titles I have, how many blue trophies I got, that I've fished since I could walk, or that I've spent countless hours on the water for this moment. It's me versus the fish, and I like to win.
Introducing Live Ops from Nomad Design. Equipped with our all-new adjustable technology, allowing you to insert tungsten balls to unlock hundreds of rigging options. Control the action, control the sink rate, and increase your bait's visibility on forward-facing sonar. Dial in your own finesse approach and stand out from the rest with Live Ops.
So we're not all professional anglers. We don't all compete on the biggest stage. But inside us all burns the same fire to be a champion. It's why you get out early, brave the toughest conditions, point the bow toward adventure and put the hammer down. For whatever trophy or fish or memory you're chasing, count on a Mercury Pro XS outboard, engineered to deliver the speed and reliability you need to power the champion inside you.
The newest addition to the Flashpoint line, the D version. Having a jerkbait that gets down to that 10 to 12 foot range is a must. The reason I'm grabbing or picking up the Flashpoint is because of that blade right there. It does two things. It provides flash, the most important thing. It's a different Flashpoint under the water that the fish haven't seen. It's a small, unique profile that mimics a small bait fish. The deep will get you down to that 10 to 12 foot range and reach those deeper suspended fish.
The Yamaha VMAX V6 SHO continues to deliver the level of performance that pro bass and multi-species anglers demand. Underneath a bold and aggressive new look, an upgraded charging system with 40% more charging power meets the amped-up demand for today's advanced electronics. The VMAX SHO, raw power, reliability, and exhilarating performance for every angler who loves the sport enough to invest in the best. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
It is day one, stop 7 of the 2025 Progressive Bassmaster Elite Series. Welcome into the Bassmaster Halftime Show presented by Bass Cat Boats. Lake Tenkiller, our playing field here this week. 102 anglers out on the water for the first 2 days of competition. Then we'll cut that field in roughly half. 50 of them will go out in semifinal Saturday. 10 of them fish on Championship Sunday. Your tournament leader right now, Keith Combs, 14 pounds, 12 ounces. West Coast rookie, Andrew Loberg with 14.8. And, guess what? Trey McKinney catching him once again. And Panger, I think we have some plants here because he, too, was a member of that gold medal winning team that you... I don't know if you were the captain, but at the end of it, you were the captain.
No, not the captain, just a last-minute fill-in. But something really interesting, I was actually doing some filming on Tenkiller before the cutoff for the Elite Series. I was out here shooting for something else, and where I put in 3 days in a row, there were 2 boats and trucks that were in before I got there at dawn and were still on the water when I got off at dusk. It was Trey and JT. I talked with both of those anglers about that down in Mexico at that USA Bass event, and they said that that they came to this body of water and they meticulously worked together and grafted out so that they would feel much more comfortable when they came back. It appears as though it's paying off.
Putting in the work.
A lot of work. Yesterday, I was talking to Palnick, and Palnick just talked about just how shocking, like, for him, he's just like, hey, your life changes, and it's hard to... We left Florida, and Trey's talking to Palnick in the parking lot at Okeechobee after Palnick had won. He congratulated him and says, I'm going to Pasquotank. You going? And Palnick's like, I can't go, but that's... sports. I mean, they are working hard, and it is paying off. But a guy that you got to work hard to keep up to is one of the most feared names in professional bass fishing, Jason Christie.
Not really an update since the last time. Really not liking this rain settling in for the way I want to fish, but there really ain't nothing I can do about it. So the choice is I fish out here, or I get up there with everybody else, and we may have to do that for long. I'm starting to get up here where, it was blowed out during practice, and I don't know if it's just clear on the top and still dirty down there. I mean, according to the units, it's not. I don't see any dirt silt, in the water column. So we got to give it a good try. That's the thing about these places is you pull up at the right place at the right time and you can make 5 casts and be done. That's what I'm hoping to do. But I got 4 or 5 more places I want to fish, and if I don't catch something, then we're going to fish shallow coming back. You know, maybe tie on a buzz bait, or I got one tied on, maybe just play with that a little bit, flip a little bit. I was really aggravated. I lost those 2. I mean, that just hurt, because we would have been about where we needed to be for day 1. I mean, not be out of it. I know that we wouldn't be leading or anything, but we wouldn't be out of it. To kind of free us up to go fishing a little bit. One thing on this lake, if you've never fished it, and other highland reservoirs, I mean, you get these old clouds, and you get these clouds and stuff like this, and yeah, it'll make them just swim around. But what we need is some wind. That wind will get them up there and get them going. It doesn't look like we'll be getting any of that today, so we're just gonna fish. Dude, I despise wearing a rain suit in the summer. I mean, it's just like this one's the best you can buy, but it's still like, yeah.
Jason Christie still feeling the pain of 2 key missed fish, and we'll make it a little more painful and relive this here. Panger, you did a great job of breaking that down. Why don't you go ahead and do that one more
Yeah, I mean,
time?
there's nothing you can do here. He came up, he analyzed where that fish was. It was hooked outside of the mouth on the one side. You see him, he keeps trying to sweep it back and forth, which without being able to use a net, he's trying to get more treble hooks in that fish's face beforehand, and it just came off. Disappointing, but he knows he didn't do anything wrong.
Hindsight's always 20/20, but after that happened, I should have just swung them.
Yeah.
But you'd have a hard time living with yourself. You try to swing that fish, and then it comes off anyways.
He's not the only local. Reigning and defending Bass Nation national champion Blake Capps calls this his home body of water. And a great aerial shot of the area he's fishing. Christy talking about a lot of different baits. I mean, and he mentioned the B word for the 2nd tournament in a row. Could we see a buzzbait be a big player?
I hope. I think we are all rooting for that. You know, it was interesting hearing Jason there talk about how he's wanting to stay offshore, but the conditions are telling him, obviously, to get up on the bank and do that, in his words, with everybody else. But what's been interesting is we've seen a lot of the guys on camera that were up shallow already move off. So there might be more, less guys up there now than there have.
You're looking at this shot of Blake Capps right now, and it looks like he's kind of out in the middle of the lake and he's off. Remember, this lake is 5 foot high. What he's fishing right there, you would normally see bank with the first transition there, so he's not that far offshore. He's just fishing that kind of first drop that drops down.
Blake having a solid morning so far, up into 5th place right now, 12:15 with the limit.
Blake talked this morning about just how crazy the bass fishing world is. A year ago, he said, I never would have imagined that I'd be on the Elite Series and be competing on my home body of water. Another guy who had a hot start to his career, didn't take him long to make a mark, almost won the first classic he competed in, Hank Cherry.
Dude, I had a really nice bite earlier, doing something a little different. I rolled it. It was kind of between me and a log, and it kind of just used the leverage of the log, I guess, and threw the bait. But that's another key. I kind of got stuck in here. Boat traffic's getting kind of crazy, to say the least. So I'm gonna get back out here, but I wanted to throw out these couple just to see if this area had any. So far, no takers. Really would like to have that other fish back. I just don't have the full hook set strength back yet in this elbow. And it's cost me several times throughout the year, but the only way it's gonna get stronger is just keep doing it.
Hank Cherry talking about getting the full elbow strength
it'll
back.
make it feel
had off-season surgery.
Better. But I went from basically no company to the field. That's what it seems like anyhow. So just plugging away.
Hank Cherry just plugging away. I'm battling through some injury, obviously on the way back, but in this sport, you don't get a lot of off days. And a guy who doesn't get a lot of off days has been Matt Pangerak from Bass Talk Live. Make sure you check that out. And hey, Panger, can we convince you just to hit the road with us full time?
I mean, you can talk to my agent.
All right.
Which is also me.
Negotiations have begun. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It could be $100,000.
The Prodigy prevails and wins Lake Okeechobee. Let's go! John Garrett goes wire to wire. It Lake belongs to Takumi Ito.
Got big. Let's go!
Bassmaster Classic champion, Easton Fothergill.
East Fish dominate. The best of the best just got better. Clearer images, sharper resolution, improved target separation. That's right, better. LiveScope Plus, only from Garmin.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graph mounts up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products, and remember, you can't beat a beatdown.
The newest addition to the Basscat STS family is here. Introducing the Caracal STS, showcasing aggressive styling, paired with enhanced performance and a continued dedication to raising the bar. Measuring in at 20 feet 2 inches with an ultra-wide 96-inch beam and rated for a 250 to 300 horsepower engine, the Caracal STS boasts agility and speed and is finished with premium features to satisfy any angler. Basscat Boats. Feel the rush.
And last, see you later, 9. Oh, it could be 10. Oh, what a bite. Oh, buddy.
It's a 10 pack.
That's a giant. That's like a steam weapon, actually.
What a nice fish.
It's the moment when everything is on the line and precision, power, and control make all the difference. A moment over 20 years in the making, anchored on loyalty, trust, and support that goes beyond all expectations. A relentless pursuit of perfection. All born from a revolutionary idea to help you rule the water. Power Pole.
10-4. Bassmaster halftime show presented by Basscat Boats. Ooh, your tournament leader, Keith Combs, has padded his lead a little bit, moved up to 15 pounds, 2 ounces. West Coast rookie Andrew Loberg, 2 out of his 4 roommates have already won Elite Series titles. Can we see the Surge squad win another one? Trey McKinney in 3rd place, Austin Felix in 4th, Takumi Ito in 5th, and Blake Katz has been waiting for this event his whole life. Couldn't believe that he was here. He said this time last year, never would have imagined it. Well, he won the Bass Nation National Championship. He's now in the Elite Series, and he gets to fish at home. And let's get out on the water with him live right now.
Oh, gosh. Ooh. Good largemouth. Gosh. Stay down. That's a good one. Oh, it's going the wrong way. Bring him back. Heck yeah. That's number 5. Heck yeah, we needed that one. 3-pounder. Yeah.
Heck yeah, indeed. That one a good one here on Tenkiller, and Blake Katz in a great situation, fishing his home body of water. And as I said, never would have believed he's here, but he is. And this is a big week for him, but always a big time when we get to be joined by Steve Bowman with Bo Knows. And you told me you're going to regale me with a little history this time
I am,
around.
but I'm also going to tell you that Bo knows when a fish jumps and it jumps into your hand like it did for Blake Katz, then you're living right. So yeah. Blake Katz may have a lot of history here that's worth seeing. So but normally what we talk about on Bo Knows is the history of the tournaments that we've had on these lakes. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of the land before Tenkiller was ever built.
Oh, okay.
So basically you're on the western edge of the Ozarks.
Yes.
And this was considered by some historians as the Ozark Badlands. Okay? This is the beginning of Indian territory, but this is where a lot of outlaws chose to hide out. Bonnie and Clyde used this area around Lake Tenkiller to hide out before they went and did their bank robbing stuff. And then Pretty Boy Floyd, they had the Cookson Hill gangs, the Underhill gang, a lot of this stuff. And it predates some of that. This is the end of the Trail of Tears. So we know that the Cherokee Nation is here. And there was one Cherokee who was considered an outlaw and a renegade. He was accused of shooting a U.S. Marshal. Back in these days, this was the hanging Judge Parker. If you recall, True Grit, John Wayne, Brewster Cogburn, this was where all this took place. And they went after this this one Cherokee Indian for 5 years, trying to catch him. Now, he was unjustly accused, but they actually killed him after a 5-year chase that included 15 to 20 marshals, a cannon, a bunch of dynamite. And the most interesting part of that is that Cherokee Indian, who is now a folk hero and considered to be the Geronimo and Sitting Bull of the Cherokee Nation in this part of the world, his name is Ned Christie.
Ned Christie.
Ned Christie. And he is literally the great uncle of Jason Christie. And
you can see the resemblance.
Jason says that that is a dead ringer of his father. They looked exactly alike. So, you have a lot of Cherokee Nation in here with a lot of things, and now you have a folk hero. This guy is a folk hero to the Cherokee Nation, and he was just an incredible man, a councilman and everything else. I was talking to Jason about him yesterday, and Jason has actually went to North Carolina and got on a bike and rode 2 days on a bike on the Trail of Tears that comes here, and so this is part of what makes this world that we're living in. You talk about unstable girlfriends and unstable land. I mean, this is really and truly, this fits right in, because this is a rough part of the world from a geographic standpoint. And people have used that over and over for hundreds of years.
Yeah, this is not the Oklahoma that many people would think.
Right, it's not the plains.
Right. You're in the foothills of the Ozark Mountains. I mean, we talked about it right after takeoff. It was shocking, just, the winding. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the world, but it is not what you would expect. You go to Tulsa and some of the other parts of Oklahoma, obviously.
Right. It's just a beautiful world, and Christie fits right into it. I mean, it's the guy that can make the bad part of it work for him, the tough part of it. And I say bad is not bad.
Bass, but they're wadded up right there.
Well, Ned Christie, a folk hero, but Jason Christie becoming a hero, obviously, himself, the only Native American ever to win the Bassmaster Classic, and would love to hoist this Elite Series title here this week. Hooked Up Live.
It's a white bass.
I think I heard him say it's a white bass. So that's not going to help.
If he can find my plug.
But Jason Christie, a big player in this tournament, and we got a lot of things on the line. We got TH Marine Fantasy Pick'em, and I'm sure Jason Christie is part of that group.
He's going to be the very first matchup. TH Marine Fantasy Pick'em. First matchup, fellas, we got Carl Jochimson, the previous champ, and Jason Christie, the local favorite. Who are we going with?
Well, if you look at the standings, but I got to go with Jason Christie. I mean, I just do. I think that it's going to be tight, and I do think that Carl's going to have another one of those wonderful tournaments. But emotionally, and the spirit of Ned Christie around, I've got to go with Jason Christie.
Oh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean, I really do think they're both going to have great events. Right. I think that Carl's going to have a big event here this week. But I'm more intimidated by Jason Christie. So just on that fact at all, I'm going Jason Christie, but going to be close. Like, I could honestly see a world where they both make the top 10 and they are both weighing in here on Sunday.
Absolutely. Have to believe Jason Christie's going to have a turnaround. Matchup number 2, though. We got Patrick Walters versus Koya Fujita. The momentum matchup, two guys that have been on a hot streak here recently. Bowman, who are we going with?
Well, I mean, with that, take the Sabine out, and I would always go with Patrick in a variety of ways, because there's so much. But then I saw Koya flipping with a spinning rod at Sabine, so it really makes that another tough choice. But I still got to go with Patrick. I think that his experience on these kind of things, and plus he's got a mustache, he's gonna prevail.
Not afraid to groom that mustache during competition. I appreciate that about him. And trust me, that mustache needs some grooming. I hate to agree with you, Bowman, but I am going Patrick Walters as well for the simple fact that he caught a bass before takeoff was done here today. Really? Literally, there was boats still leaving, idling away, and he boated his first keeper. So I am going Patrick Walters.
Matchup number 3, Brandon Polnick, Cody Meyer. Got the Idaho Anglers. Who are we going with?
Oh, you know, the easy thing is Polnick. But Cody's been really hungry. And Cody is an amazing angler. And you know, I'm just got to flip a coin on that one. But I will go with Brandon since that's the easy way to go. Easy way out.
I generally always go with Brandon because he's my little buddy. I did his podcast yesterday. That's coming out. But the fact that his family made literally hundreds of water balloons and attacked me afterwards. Oh. I'm all in with Cody Meyer. Sorry, I'm turning my back. I'm turning my back on the Prodigy. And Cody Meyer is an incredible angler. We're waiting for his breakout event. This just might be it.
I'm with you. Final matchup. This is the AOY matchup. We got Jay Shakurit and Chris Johnston, number 1 and 2 in Progressive AOY. Who we got in this matchup, Bowman?
Well, I'm going to go against the flow there. I mean, it's hard to pick against Jay Shakurit, man, and he's having a fantastic day. But I also know that things are fixing to change. And I also understand how Chris, I have watched Chris at St. John's and other places. Jay is not one-dimensional by any sense, but Chris understands a lot of these little intricacies of that you're gonna have to flip, you're gonna have to pitch, you're gonna have to throw a minnow, you're gonna have to do some of this, and Jay, he's probably there too, but I just kind of feel like Chris is in a make it or break it point in his AOY chase, and he's gonna, when he turns on the heat, nobody turns on the heat like Chris Johnston. So
this is a tough one because it's so hard to bet against Jay, and I don't want to bet for Chris because I get called a homer all the time. But I just feel like Jay is starting to feel the pressure of the moment. You're seeing that. I think it's really cool the way he has owned it from the beginning of the season, where he's like, yes, I want to win Angler of the Year. He hasn't hidden from it. I believe Jay Shakurit will win Angler of the Year, but I believe he's going to be threatened by Chris Johnson, and I believe Chris Johnson will do exactly what he did in the last event and whittle another 10 points away from him, tighten things up, and that'll make it more exciting at the tail end of the season.
I'm with you. I think this tournament's going to be a telltale event for whoever wins the Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year, but that's your TH Marine Fantasy Pick'em for Lake Tenkiller.
Well, great stuff. Doesn't matter what we think. It's all up to the anglers, and it'll be official when those fish hit the scales. Just day number 1, a 4-day tournament. It'll all end on Sunday. I want to remind everybody, Big Fox, Sunday afternoon, Network Fox. And as always, every Saturday and Sunday of Elite Series competition, you can see us at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, kicking off on FS1. But we got a brand new leader. The Surge Squad trying to become the 3rd Elite Series champion of that rookie house. Andrew Loberg, 17 pounds even. Don't go anywhere. The crew from the studio going to break down the action next.
Professional angler Jason Christie knows the performance and feel of a reel in his hands is very important. And that's why he designed the new Spro JC Elite and JC Elite